Want to know the secret for healing trauma? Let's find out right now. What's up, Light Fam? This is David, your spiritual awakening coach. The secret to healing trauma is compassion for yourself. But the reason that compassion for yourself is the secret to healing trauma may not be as obvious right out of the gates. Let's dive deep. First of all, most of that trauma was initiated in childhood before the logical mind was formed. Up to the age of 7, you're completely in the subconscious brainwave state where you accept everything as truth. Also, everything is always about you. Parents got divorced. Oh, that was my fault. Anything bad happens, that was my fault. And then the logical mind is formed, but those subconscious beliefs are already there, and we carry that into adulthood. So you can let yourself off of the hook for having that childhood trauma, which allows you to have compassion for yourself. When you have compassion for yourself, you are putting yourself in a state of allowing, acceptance, surrender, which is the opposite of what? Fight or flight, which is a resistant, closed off state. When you are hard with yourself, especially beating yourself up for something that wasn't your fault, this is a state of resistance. You're putting up a wall, and that really causes that trauma to just, solidify it and put its roots even deeper into your subconscious. Having compassion for yourself allows you to understand that everybody has some type of trauma that they are trying to heal and resolve with love. This helps to normalize the process. And when you start to normalize the process instead of deny, repress, suppress, what you end up doing is freeing up space in your mind to show yourself some love. How can you work on your self-healing? How can you show yourself love? How can you do some self-care? And your mind starts to go into how you can take care of yourself because you're not in fight or flight survival mode. Another reason that you want to show yourself compassion when you are healing is because you've got to remember that you chose the trauma that you were going to experience before you decided to incarnate. You chose the parents. You chose the parents with their unhealed trauma and how they would express love. You chose all of these things because the healing of that trauma would allow you to learn the greatest lesson of this particular incarnation, which is your whole intention for incarnating in the first place. So show yourself some compassion out there when you're healing today, because remember, there is an older version of you that will look at where your life is today and just be amazed. And the life that you're living now is a dream life compared to a past version of you. So stop and take note of how far you have come and pat yourself on the back. And this also shows you that, hey, you're making it. You haven't died yet, and you're making it through these trials and tribulations, and you're becoming a stronger, greater version of yourself. Having compassion for yourself when you are healing softens up that perception of that trauma, instead of having a hardened perception of that trauma, which solidifies that trauma and makes it tougher to dissolve into your higher frequency or integrate into your higher frequency by showing it love. So when you are compassionate with yourself and you heal the trauma, you start to dissolve those shackles of fear that keeps you from expressing your authentic truth. The more you allow unhealed trauma to fester and grow, you're growing your shadow by repressing. You're just keeping that false self alive. Who is the false self? The false self is the identity that your ego created because it believed that that identity was necessary for survival. This is the mask that you show to the world, but it's not the real you. It's not the authentic you, and it's not the reason that you decided to incarnate. Once you start being compassionate with yourself and heal that unhealed trauma, you start to dissolve the fear that is keeping you back from expressing your authentic truth. And when you start expressing your authentic truth fearlessly, that's when the magic really happens. I love you guys. See you in the next video. Namaste.